And in terms of the analysis, we have what happened before the video. We have what else could the teacher have done. And then we do have what the officer did and could have done. And we look at him through the lens of what he did in that video and also what he has done before. It is important to note that this is not the first time this officer has been accused of excessive force. Army veteran Carlos Martin, as you heard, he had been involved with this officer. He says he recognized Ben Fields the instant he saw that video because Fields treated him the exact same way, he says, 10 years ago. Carlos Martin joins us now. Now, it is important to note, Mr. Martin, thank you for joining us here. Your case against the officer was dismissed. There is another case pending against him. But with that as context, tell us, what was your experience?
Basically, I was coming home from work. I just got done doing a uniform inspection. Officer Fields was already in the neighborhood. I was going to my apartment. When we crossed paths, I acknowledged him by nodding my head. I was going to put the keys in the door, and I heard a car peel off. I see Officer Fields running towards me. He said, "Hey, you, come here." I'm like, "Who, me?" He's like, "Yeah, you." He's like, "I'm out here for a noise violation." I said, "It couldn't have been me. I have a police officer that lives above me, and her mother was home watching the whole situation." I handed him my information. He didn't understand the information that I handed him because I gave him a paper license. I called him dude. He got upset for me calling him dude. He threw me down and he started beating on me.
Well, hold on a second. So he says, "Show me your ID" at some point.
Correct.
You say, "Here it is." You show him a paper license. You had a temporary ID?
No, I showed him all the registration that I had, but I lost my picture license in Germany, and I gave him the paper license from the Alaska DMV.
So he looks at it, he says, "What is this?"
Correct.
And you explain what you just did here.
Correct.
How does the dude come up?
Well, I was like, "Dude, if you would just calm down," because he was like, "What the
He
H
was
is
already
this?"
exercised, you're saying?
Correct.
What was his demeanor in your opinion?
I guess he didn't understand it. He was angry. I'm not sure why he was angry or whatever else, but I was like, "Dude, if you could just calm down. You see I have German tags on my car." He didn't want to listen to me. He was like, "I'm a Richland County officer of the law. You won't call me dude." I was like, "Why you?" Then he was like, "Well," I said, "Hey, you addressed me by hey, you." He was like, "Well, that's because I don't know your name." And I was like, "Well, I don't know your name either." And that's when he slammed me down to the ground and started beating on me.
So you guys start getting words. He then initiates. You did not
Correct.
initiate any action toward him?
No, not at all.
And what did he do once he tried to do you? I mean, you're a big guy. You're trained with military service. What did he do to you?
Well, at the time, I was only like 190 or whatever else. Obviously, I got in the gym after that. But what he did to me is started making all these racial comments, which is already documented.
So he put you on the ground and there's racial comments?
Correct. And that was all done on the internal affairs report, which is already proven. The neighbor goes to get my wife at the time, Tashiana. She comes out. She takes pictures of the situation. He calls for backup. All the women and children that were watching used to come to my football games, whatever else, and they watch Officer Fields beat on me. He gets nervous.
How many times did he hit you?
Oh, man, countless times. He gets nervous. He basically calls for backup. I understand why they showed
Were you fighting?
Not at all. I was laying on the ground, as you can see, protecting myself, just curled up in the ball.
So why do you think he felt the need that he had to keep hitting you?
I'm not sure. I know he used the whole can of mace because I didn't act like a regular civilian with that because I'm military trained. I closed my eyes, held my breath. He has said, "Oh, now you're on drugs." You know, I'm not on drugs. What are you talking about? But when my backup came, they attacked my wife because he said, "Get her black, you know, A," or whatever else. They attacked her, threw her against the car, handcuffed her, picked her up while she was handcuffed and slammed her into the ground face first.
So now what happens? What happens to the case against you?
Basically, we went to the lawsuit or whatever else. Tashiana had a chance for her case to be presented. She's the one who didn't win her case. She didn't win her case because they said that she was too close when she took the pictures that you see. And the judge actually admitted to knowing someone in the jury during the case, which is illegal.
So your ex-wife's case got dismissed because of what you just said, some technicality of her
Correct.
distance. What about your case?
I never had an opportunity to go to court. What happened was my lawyer basically tricked me out of my case. He basically told me that if I dropped the excessive charges from the police, that we would go sue for all the other charges as far as me and my marriage, me losing my job and everything else, and that these were the bigger facts or whatever else to just drop this charge, and that he would represent me pro bono. Well, once I dropped that charge or whatever else, and I had written it in a letter to him, he's like, "Oh, I'm charging you $20,000.
All right, so that's somewhat outside this what matters in terms of our analysis.
Correct.
So he arrested you. What happened to the charges against you?
We were found not guilty on all charges. The judge gave us a direct verdict for not being guilty. They basically almost committed perjury on the stand for lying about the deleted pictures that they deleted because we took more than 2 pictures. She took up to between 10 to 15 pictures, but they deleted evidence from the racial comments. He admitted to all of it already.
So the headline is, you were arrested, but you were found not guilty on all charges.
Correct.
It didn't go to trial, you're saying the judge took the case and gave a directed verdict.
Correct.
Which means that his acknowledgement of the facts meant it didn't need to go to anybody else.
Correct.
All right, so then you didn't wind up suing this officer. But so now that takes us to today.
No, I am still winding up suing the officer. My case is just at the United States Supreme Court. I'm still appealing that.
So you're going a different way.
Correct.
You believe when you saw this video, you're not surprised. This isn't about the circumstances as presented to the officer. You believe this is just his instinct of how to act in a situation.
Absolutely. And I'm not even surprised that his actions is that. I'm more surprised that Sheriff Lott continues to allow him to continue to do the same thing. The reason why he's at the school that he's at is because he beat me up and then they moved him to the school and put him around children.
Why would they take an officer who had a force issue and put him in a school?
That is the question of the day.
Now, there is all this hearsay on the ground there. You know, basically at this point, you have to almost dismiss it as gossip. Cops get cases against them. It happens. They're dealing with bad situations.
Correct.
It's not to excuse their behavior, but it's like part of the job sometimes.
Correct.
Kids there say he has a reputation.
Absolutely.
In the neighborhood where you live, is that true? Is this something that followed this particular officer?
Well, the children in the neighborhood all watched him beat on me, so it's no surprise that he did the same thing or was not afraid to do it in the school.
And you say he definitely was making racial comments.
Absolutely. It's already documented. He admits to the racial comments. And my thing is this, as me as a soldier, or my wife as a soldier can go to foreign lands to protect the laws and what we believe that's right in America, who protects us when we come back home?
The idea that, well, this man can't be racist, you know, he had a girlfriend who's black. What does that matter to you?
That doesn't mean anything. People are people. I don't see color or whatever else, but people can still make racial comments. Black people can be racist against black people, so what does it mean?
What do you think should happen in this situation?
I definitely think that, you know, he should be removed from his position. But not only that, I think instead of complaining about the problems, let's come up with a solution. And I think the solution should be bridging the gap between the police officers and the public. And how do you do that? I think police officers should have body cams before they go make any type of arrest. I think they should do retraining about how to deal with the public. But at the same time, I think the public should be offered classes about the different laws and how to encounter the situation. Is everyone going to go? No. But I think they should be made available and start doing things where the community and the public can do things, the police department can do things together.
What would you have done if you had been called in, you were working at this school, and the teacher says, I can't get this kid out of the classroom, and you're a police officer? What do you think you would have done?
I think it's more so of the conversation. I don't think that it takes Officer Fields to flip a child, not even after you flip the child, to throw the child across the classroom and then handcuff her. That was very unnecessary. It's a difference between being a police officer and a bully.